We hope you enjoyed this impromptu video, and please excuse our hair and makeupless face. But we really did do this completely on the spot. My Animal Crossing game was interrupted to film this video for you. So I really hope you enjoyed it.
Hey y'all, welcome to our channel. Today you're gonna notice, I don't know, maybe that my bed's a huge mess and that we have not taken time to spruce ourselves up, because we thought it'd be really fun to talk with you guys about a subject that came up between the two of us and do it all on film. Why not? Just let it go, right? So what happened was today the results of the open novella contest on Wattpad were revealed. And if you don't know what open novella is, it is a contest where Wattpadders get to go in and you submit a brand new work, and you are getting basically judged by a group of your peers. Open novella is not an official Wattpad contest. It is an official contest run by Wattpad ambassadors. So it really is your peers judging you and not like the big top people at Wattpad. And we did really well. Yeah, I think we did really well. We made it.
We made the short list.
Right, our story time list made it to the short list, but we did not get an honorable mention. We did not hit the top 5, which I think with everybody is kind of a blow to your ego, because you always put something out there hoping for the best. But let's put into perspective where we were. We were competing against lots and lots of other Wattpadders who had really great stories too. So we wanted to kind of take a moment and talk about, as we are talking ourselves down, or actually talking ourselves back up after losing a contest, where our frame of mind should be. So that's what we're doing today. You're gonna see us go through this process of us together, and we hope that this is something that you would, with your writing buddy, go and have a conversation with them when you're feeling really down about something, especially when you've put your work really out there and you've gotten some type of what feels like negative feedback. But let's just be honest, we didn't get negative feedback, we just didn't win.
Yep.
So I think the one thing that we really need to remember is that this is a judge of our peers, and we are talking about that we're artists. Our skill set is artistic, and therefore we have to remember that art is subjective. So what we find to be completely amazing and right up our alley may not be up somebody else's alley.
I'll admit, this morning when I opened Wattpad and saw that we didn't place, and saw that we didn't get an honorable mention, my little feelings were a little bit hurt. You weren't awake yet to share my upsetness,
No.
But I was a little upset because we did make the short list. So I never even really expected to do that because there's so many people that compete. But when we did, I was like, oh, well, maybe there's a chance. We made the ONC Ambassador Picks reading list. Right. During the second round. So I thought, oh, they're noticing us. Maybe we're going to actually place. That would be so amazing, because neither of us have ever even done the open novella before. This is the 3rd annual. But when I saw we didn't, man, I was a little bit down. I'll admit it, for sure. But instead of being rude or being hateful or being bitter, I talked to my husband about it a little, who, he's just going to try to make me feel better, which is fine. That's nice. But I really needed to talk to my writing buddy, which is my best friend and co-writer that I wrote the story with.
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing that we can do. We have to look at everything in this. I really feel like when it comes into these moments where you've been turned down in some way, even if it comes to going out and querying with an agent, let's look at who we're dealing with here. As much as we try not to be, have a bias to something, we do. We just said before we started filming, we're both Wattpad snobs. it's going to take a lot to get me to run through your story beginning to end. If I'm sticking with your story, let me tell you, there is something that you've written that is really speaking to me, because it is really hard for me to find that Wattpad story that I want to stay with, which is really weird. And we've talked about this in the past too, because when I buy a book, it's really hard for me to shelf a book. But on Wattpad, it's really easy for me to peace out. See ya, I'm not down with this anymore. So we just have to remember that that sometimes we have these clusters of people that might be really into romance or really into fantasy or really into sci-fi, and that's perfectly fine. We just have to, that's not a reflection on our book. What we should be doing is going back in, looking at ONC, looking at maybe something else in the historical. Did something else place that was in historical or get an honorable mention? And maybe taking that and applying that to future stories. What was it? How did that story, the writing of that story, different from our story? What could have we maybe done a little bit better? Because we're not perfect. You can either take it as a kick in the balls, or you can take it as,
a kick in the ass.
A kick in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Kick in the balls or kick in the ass. What's it going to be? And this should really always be a kick in the ass, instead of being really staying in this place of being upset. We will better from Timeless. Timeless will not always be one of our better works, because hopefully, fingers crossed, we're in this for the long haul, and being in this for the long haul means that we're going to continue to grow. I guess overall is you have to remember that it is subjective, and for us to be upset or to pretend like this is the say all in our career as writers would be really, really ridiculous. It's not logical. This is just one story, and the next story,
in one contest.
Exactly. And it was a big contest, and we were really excited. And yet again, let's go back to all the accomplishment one. We wrote 20,000 words. Done. Like, that is a big...
And we could have gone to 40, but we made a goal to stay at 20 so that the judges would have to read the entire thing. And that was hard. We had to cut some stuff. We had to make some really tough decisions with that story.
Well, and I mean, that's because we knew that to get to the end of the story is much more impactful than dropping off in the middle of a story. Or to feel like...
the end of that story was amazing. Sorry, don't mean to be,
It was.
Don't mean to flex, but it was amazing. And that's like the thing that we have to remember, like all these people that have read it, and we even read it to our husbands, and they were even like, whoa, that was like crazy. And that's not, the kind of thing they usually read. So, and they even loved it. It's all opinion. Even if something is written, quote unquote, poorly, somebody might still really enjoy it. I know I've used this guy before, but I'll say it again. Cormac McCarthy uses no punctuation in his books. That is incorrect. If you want to get right down to it and be real technical about it, that is written incorrectly. It's badly written. But he's a classic author. He has people who love him. So that is my opinion, that I think that's written poorly, because I like my punctuation, because that's just kind of important. But other people love that.
That's what a fan base is. Even as a writer, is finding those people that you're speaking to and they love your writing style. And that, I mean, it's comparable to music. It's the same thing. You're a huge country fan. Are we in the country? Okay, turn on some country kind of girl. Like, it is not something I listen to on a daily. I am more of an emo, alternative kind of girl. We just have different tastes in music. But it doesn't mean that either one of us listen to a bad type of music, or
because clearly
without talent. These are talented people.
Right.
Just country music does not speak to me, and my emo stuff doesn't necessarily speak to you. So it's just what's really like connecting with you. It is really an emotional issue, and not everything is going to connect in the same way.
If we can say that, then we need to apply that to our stories too. Who are they to say that our story is bad. And nobody's saying that, really. It's just that it was just a group, like you said, a group of judges, a group of stories. Which one spoke to them more? It doesn't mean that ours was bad. So as much as it stings to get a notification on your Wattpad that you were expecting to be tagged in and you're not, so you automatically know you didn't win or didn't place. I didn't even expect to win. And truthfully, I really didn't expect to place either. There were just so many people. Even the short list was 70 people. But it was one of those things where it was like, it would have been so awesome, and it was just
I think people are kidding themselves if they say, well, I'm putting this out there with the expectation of not doing anything. That's not true. You're even at that point putting that work out there with the expectation of being pleasantly surprised. I don't want to hear you say, I put it out there, I knew it wasn't going to win anything. The odds tell you when you are it's a gamble like anything else. Mm-hmm. The odds tell you you're not going to win. But the internal hope is that you do place in something, or why even put it out there?
But even before we won this contest for Adrift, we won first place in a Wattpad Ambassador Rant contest for Makeover.
And that was just last week too. I just want to point out how we allow that negative to sit so heavily on us, and we celebrate the positive in such a short amount of time and then brush it under the table. Why are we not spending more time on the positive things that happen to us and celebrating those positives instead of dwelling on our negatives? I think it's a selfishness thing on most people, and we all have a seed of selfishness in us where we say, I deserve that. I deserved it. You know what? You did deserve it, but you're forgetting how much hard work you put into it to get to the point that you deserved it. And you should be celebrating that a little bit longer than 5 minutes of woohoo. You should spend just as much time talking about that great positive and posting about that great positive as you do dwelling upon the negatives that happen with your writing.
This is the bottom line of what we want to say to you in this video. If you entered Open Novella Contest and didn't place, neither did we. If you didn't enter Open Novella Contest and you're upset about another contest, please don't stop writing and trying because of a stupid contest. Because even if you're not quote unquote good or where you want to be right now, do you really think that everybody started out being good? No, they didn't. So just because, one person doesn't like it or one group of people doesn't like it does not mean that you suck.
That's the key here. Don't stop writing. If you're serious about this, this should not be the end all. This shouldn't be the thing that tells you that you are not a great writer. There it is. I don't feel so bad.
No, I feel better now.
Yeah, no, we put out a great story. We've accomplished great things, and this one thing does not set the tone for the nenext thing we write. Because there will be a next thing we write.
Yes,
this isn't it. Yeah. If you guys want us to maybe, because we have conversations like this all the time. This was a little bit different. It's a little uncomfortable, but it was good for us. If you guys want to see us do another video like this, make sure to drop a comment and let us know you really love the impromptu stuff instead of the scripted stuff that we do a lot. And also hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss an upload every Friday.
And if you want to read our loser ONC story, Timeless, or anything else that we've written, go to our Wattpad at Crystal and Felicity. You can read them all for free. And as always, no matter what contest you win or lose, write what you love.